this tutorial, what we're going to learn how to do is take items that are in our project management orders and submit some of those into production for fabrication. As a shop personnel, we can look at those orders, choose the line items we want to have accepted, and then make a production order out of that. Okay, so we're going to show you how to do that and add some workflows along the way, etc. So the first thing that you want to do that is optional but highly recommended is to make sure that this setting is turned on. I'm going to go in my settings over here, and then I'm going to say I want to make sure that this is tagged as yes, set to yes, and it's going to say send items to production individually. Okay, this is going to give me a little bit of greater controls as it comes to feeding items into the production process. All right, then I'm going to go back over here to my orders, and the one that we're going to work with over here is going to be this top one, which is going to be order 360. All right, so I'm going to open this up here. I click on order entry, and you can see here that what we're doing is we're going to be taking 3 different products that are going to be, or 4 different products rather here, that are going to be different sign types that we're going to be sending to production for fabrication. Okay, now the first thing I want to point out is that right now this order is in open status, and that means that I can be working on this, I can be cutting POs, scheduling installations, all sorts of things like that, but it's not ready for production. So what I want to do is I want to process this order. Okay, so I'm going to process the order. If you're not using any fabrication whatsoever, it doesn't make a difference. This still allows you to initiate the ship and install process to ship product or install it, etc. It bypasses production entirely. If you are using the production method, then it's going to put these items seamlessly into the ready for production screen, which we'll be taking a look at in a minute. So I have 4 items here, and you can see because I turned on that button in my settings that said allowed to send individual items to production, this is what it's allowing me to do. It's showing me these buttons. Now, I have 4 items. If I want to send all of them to production, I can by clicking on the send all to production. In this case, I don't want to do that because I want to show you what a partial looks like when you're sending it into production. Okay, so over here, I'm going to click on sending this one, and sending this one. Our first 3 of the set. We're going to hold back the 4th item, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look over here at the now the ready for production screen, and then you can see here that I have the new order, which is order 360. Okay, and now I have a checkbox next to it. Okay, this indicates that it's a partial. All right, that there's checked items in here ready to go, but there will be more that are held back at a later date. I can bring those back in. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to inspect this. I'm going to open this up, and you can see here that I have my ready for production items. All right, classified accordingly is made here, made out, etc., things like that, interior, exterior, and so on. And then over here you can see off to the right hand side, these items are automatically checked to bring into production, with the 3rd or the 4th item rather down at the bottom that is not ready for production. Okay, then finally I have some buttons down here where I can group items for production, talk about that in a moment, but I can also accept this as is into production. Okay, so immediately if I'm just ready to go and I'm happy with this, I'm going to make some decisions later on, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead and accept this for production right now. Okay, that at least I could. The grouping will allow me to combine like items together into a job. Okay, so over here's an example. I can set all of these to acrylic signs individually as an example because they all are acrylic signs. Let's just say that the materials are a little bit different, so they shouldn't be grouped. And I can automatically assign these workflows to these 3 different products here. But if they actually all are the same materials and contain many of the same properties, such as the graphic colors, the background colors, the material thickness, etc., all it is that there's just dimensions that are different and so on, I may want to group these jobs together to make one so they all go through the same workflow at the same time. That way they're all painted together, they're all silkscreened together, and so on and so forth. They're all cut together and such. Okay, so to do that, I can group the items for production. If I do that over here, then what I can do is I can add them all to acrylic signs, and I can say add these ones here, because I can only add 2 if I wanted, but in this case they're all going to be the same. I'm going to add 3, and I'm going to say create job. Okay, once I do this, important things to know here is that number 1, it's going to show me the job number, okay, which is 103, 103, 103. The fourth one in this wasn't included, okay? And then you can see here it says items added to production, okay? So I'm gonna close this over here. They've been added to production, okay? And then I'm gonna go here and basically say I wanna go to my orders in production. So when I click on over here, I now have order 360 that is in fact in production, okay? So I'm gonna click on this, and now you can see that I have the 4 items still that are showing here. This one has not yet been accepted in production just yet, okay? These ones over here have been, and they've been combined together, okay, to make a single job to go through the shop, okay? So I can update this here if I want to, but I'm not going to at this point. I can update this workflow if I need to at any time. There's many places you can do that. You'll see in different tutorials. And then you can see down below, I have the 4th item here ready to be produced, okay? So it hasn't been accepted yet, but one thing I can actually do now is I can accept this here from this screen as opposed to having to go through the process of resubmitting it from production. So if somebody tells me that this is ready to go, I don't have to go through all the steps that I just went through. Now that I have an order to work with, I can accept this directly into production, and now here it is, okay? So this is really great. So that is the path from taking items that are in an order, putting them into the queue to be produced, to be accepted into production, and then building a production order off of that.